Welcome to a short journey through time. It is half a century we're looking at, a time full of obstacles in some regions of the European world of business. Obstacles that were turned into challenges by business professionals like the crew of the Festo company. With Austria, one associates the traditional partnership with the neighbours in Central and Eastern Europe, the gateway to the East. It is indeed a special task Vienna covers within the Festo group now for half a century. The special task is to establish new markets and develop existing ones in the East. Festo initiates the first legally permitted technical offices and joint ventures. Later, Festo changes the status of the joint venture companies to 100% Festo-owned companies. The three first 100% ones are the subsidiaries in Poland 1989, followed by the Czech Republic and Croatia in 1990. Furthermore, Festo establishes a representation office in Serbia. The subsidiary Festo Slovenia is registered in 1992, and Festo in Slovakia opens after Czechoslovakia breaks apart in 1993. Festo Romania follows in 1994. The latest foundation is the one in Belarus 2005. Festo has got a representation office in Kazakhstan. The latest foundation is the one in Azerbaijan. It is the high time of the 50s where we start our newsreel. Europe has overcome World War II and prosperity is growing in the Western Hemisphere of the continent. Dreams come true for many people. One was speaking of the miracle of economy, true for many people. But a new serious danger was splitting the continent into two completely different kinds of societies. Hardly no connection for families and hardly no trade between East and West. In the late 1950s, in order to seek for new potential, Festo builds up the first contacts to Eastern Europe, and Dr. Wilfried Stoll undertakes the first business trips to former Yugoslavia during his studies at the University of Vienna. In the 1960s, the economic miracle continues. Festo is a Western industrial pioneer in Central and Eastern Europe. The so-called country consultants travelled from Vienna, sometimes under difficult circumstances, into the countries and visit the customers. In those days, the state owned foreign trade enterprises. At a time when other companies tried their first steps into the region of Eastern Europe, the professionals from Festo are well informed about the specialities of trading in this market. In the 1970s in Hungary, a very special economic period develops inside of the Comcom. Small enterprises are permitted and the shop windows show a kind of prosperity, and Budapest becomes an Eastern Europe centre for shopping. We're also looking at a time when the Soviet Union is extensively and successfully exploring space. In the 1970s, Alexei Yeliseyev is flight director and triple cosmonaut. Later, he becomes general manager of Festo Russia. 1980. With the beginning in Poland, a decade of major changes is to be focused on. It is a period when Festo has already got close, effective contacts to customers in Eastern Europe. But it is the task not just to increase the trade with existing customers, but in addition to find new partners for further business. Festo is using every possible opportunity to expose products and services at all important trade fairs. The blue Expotainer trucks and the specially designed Festo exhibition tents are a very extraordinary attraction. To be closer to the customers, Festo initiates legally permitted technical offices and joint ventures. In the late 1980s and beginning of the 1990s, Festo had to handle the specialities of the so-called barter deals. At that time, a number of companies do not dispose of sufficient financial funds, and aside from that, the currencies of most of the countries are not convertible. The Vienna office at that time has to accept payments in commodities instead of hard currencies in order to sell pneumatic. For instance, Festo accepts payments in goods from the Russian automotive industry. For example, cars from Lada and trucks from Kamaz. In Czechoslovakia, Festo accepts a huge amount of beer bottles as payment for pneumatic. So it is the time when it is necessary to trade with a range of products in order to get the real money for pneumatic products. The end of the 1980s. Major changes take place in Central and Eastern Europe. Political changes that nobody before even dreamt of. Festo at that time tremendously increases its range of products. The catalogue expands its volume significantly each year as the number of customers grows. The market need of the 1990s, same services in East and West. From the centralistic controlled system to the free market economy. To be close to the customers and to satisfy their needs. No matter where a customer goes to in Central and Eastern Europe, Festo is wherever the customers need them to be. Unified EDP platforms allow direct logistics from the Customer Service Centre Europe. Approximately 90% of the Central European customers are supplied within 2 to 3 days. Growth engine Russia. When we talk about Eastern Europe, it is certain Russia needs special consideration because of its size and its many time zones and 150 million inhabitants. The headquarters are located in Moscow, and in the regions there are several so-called automation centers that ensure customer proximity and customer satisfaction. For example, the automation center in Irkutsk is approximately 6,000 kilometers east of Moscow. It has always been a major task for Festo to research and to train students in new technologies. Therefore, it was only a matter of course that Festo cooperates with leading universities like, for example, the Institute of Energy in Moscow or the Technical University in Sevastopol. Festo is the market leader in industrial automation and didactic in all countries within Central and Eastern Europe. Parallel to the sales structures, Festo establishes 4 global production sites in Hungary, Bulgaria, Ukraine and the Czech Republic with 1,600 employees today. If we look at Festo in Central and Eastern Europe today, we see a wide range of customers with high national and international reputations. It is evident that there is hardly any industrial areas where you don't find manufacturers using Festo products in their production lines. More than 30,000 companies are satisfied Festo customers in Central and Eastern Europe. Today in the sales companies, 600 highly trained employees work together in motivated teams. Some and nominated ones, the so-called synergy networkers, act effectively, efficiently and in teams across country borders in order to offer customer consulting and services on the highest level in the region. Employees in Central and Eastern Europe are also the #1 success factor and the reason for the continuing success for Festo.